Thanks for joining us on the call this morning. Minnesota State head coach Luke Strand is with us, taking on Bemidji State back home this week. First of all, Coach, how does it feel to be back on your home ice in another tough CCHA series?
Yeah, it's been a bit since we've been home. Conference play is alive and well. Obviously, everyone, the parity in the league, the competition internally is excellent. So we've got to be on our toes. We've got a very talented Bemidji group coming to town.
In the practices leading up to this series this week, what has been your plan for things that you want to focus on?
Well, they put 6 on the board, so we got to defend, and we've got some things to do on that side of things. I think they play a very connected, good game. They play a very team game. I think Bemidji doesn't really they don't shoot themselves in the foot. I think they play a very to their team predictable game in a good way. Activity out of their D, 5-man offensive play, and let alone at the same time they've got some depth scoring going on. Is spreading that throughout the lineup.
And Bemidji came back to score 6 unanswered against Michigan Tech on Saturday. Do you see some similarities in the style of play between your team and this Bemidji State club?
Maybe. I mean, to Tom's credit and their team's credit, I think they're a very connected group. There's not a lot of random going on out there, so I would hope that someone would have that ability to say about our group. But everyone's got different highlights, right? Luft is having a great go of it as a grad. They've got some scoring. Obviously, Uhlenkamp's a uber connected, very talented player. So Reed is really good. They've got a good group, so there's just a lot of depth to their group.
I'll open it up for questions. Don, I see you on the call. Any questions for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, it's been about a month since we've seen you in Mankato. How has your team changed? What might fans notice from where your team was about a month ago with your 2 road trips and the weekend off to where they're at now getting into this weekend's play?
It's interesting. I think as a coach, it's your job to go back through and file through some older video of different areas. I like our tempo. I think we've had some good moments that way. I think there's been a lot of individual growth. That would be a big piece of that puzzle. Getting different guys on the score sheet, getting defensemen to grow as young players, making sure you play a good game in front of our guys. But I think on the individual side, some guys have really started to take off.
You kind of tipped the next question. Evan Murray, nice honor this week with Rookie of the Week. Is he a pretty good indication, a good example of that individual? Some of the younger players who've taken already in a young career a step forward.
Yeah, Evan's done a great job. I mean, some of these guys have just come through opportunity, right? They've jumped in. They haven't found themselves as passengers, which I think is a credit to the leadership of the guys that return to the program. There's a bottom line of winning, and it doesn't really matter who's involved in the score sheet, et cetera, here, which has been great for us. But that opportunity and availability of those guys to take strides has been very important. And as everyone fights a health injury bug here or there. So you got to make sure the next man up is ready to go play.
I will play off your response there health-wise. Where is your team at going into this weekend?
There's been a couple notables out of the lineup for a bit, and I think it kind of maybe stays that way. We're waiting on some hopefully good news on the Warwick side of things. Courage has been out. He's closer than further, but and I think there's just a lot of more long-term precaution on a couple guys who are close, but we want to make sure they're full good to go before we put their toe in the water. And conference play is valuable to us, so we want to make sure we've got the best healthy bodies going.
One more question, if I may. You seem to be the type of a guy who likes a good hockey rivalry, and you're about to experience one here with Mankato and Bemidji. What do you know about the rivalry? What excites you about a longtime rival like this? Obviously, maybe a little more jump in the skates, get up for a little bit more, but being new to the program. What have you heard about this MSU Bemidji rivalry, and what are you looking forward to in that regard?
Well, back in the day, you go back to RH and you go back to that era, Brosy era of players. I think when you saw the two programs elevate to Division One status, the internal Minnesota State school status is always one. But now, obviously, of recent and playoffs, and I remember driving actually watching the delay and the replay and the comeback and have to redo that. I remember watching it vividly. So, so obviously alive and well. And there's a Sartori coach in there that I know is ultra competitive guy. So that part's not going anywhere. I actually, this is so good for college hockey. It's so good that there's rivals, and it's really good for our league in itself.
Last week we were talking about how do you score power play goals, and then you go to Ferris State and you get a couple. Were there big things that you changed on the power play, or was it guys just executing better?
Power play's confidence. I think you got to put some guys in try to get them on the right seat. And some guys have been making plays. I think we've had a little more traffic. We've been a little more deliberate towards the net. That often we'll get you a spot on that part. To our guys' credit, I thought they've heightened their own awareness. They're not happy with where it was and how it was going. So we didn't ignore it, but at the same time, you can't suffocate them with it either. Otherwise, you'll go backwards in that regard as well.
Any other questions? All right. Appreciate Coach for joining us, and we'll be back next week.
Thank you.